Hey, people that are joining. I'm trying to get this simulcast onto a couple different places, so just bear with me as I try to make that happen. And then we'll get started. Okay, looks like I'm good on that one. Okay, good on that one. And the last one. One more, just apologies here. Trying to make it work. Okay, I think we are set. All right, thanks guys for joining today. I appreciate those of you who are taking time here in the middle of the day to join, just to kind of talk through where we are with craziness that was Walmart, especially over the past weekend. But really, the past 2 weeks have been a little bit out of the ordinary, I would say. And then give you guys kind of what I'm hearing, who I'm talking to, the things that I know, that kind of thing. And then after we talk through that, I'll do some Q&A. So feel free to post questions. If you're on YouTube and seeing this on YouTube, thank you, and just post your questions there. I'll have to pop over into the Facebook groups and see the questions there, but I will get to them. And also, if you are on YouTube, would appreciate likes and follows and subscribes. If you subscribe, you'll be notified each time that I go live. Okay, all that out of the way. So if you have been living under a rock, this past week, I think it was on Thursday afternoon, Walmart updated the banner on the Seller Center homepage stating that they were going to add additional restrictions in beauty, personal care, pet ingestibles, and food supplements. And then subsequently on Saturday, all of those categories aired out for everyone. They basically nuked the entire catalog for anybody that is not a brand. And even some private label sellers kind of got caught in this kind of as they kind of just did everything across the board. What I know as of today, and this is gathered from the conversations I personally have had with Walmart, as well as a couple of very trusted sellers that also had conversations with Walmart. This was done by their legal department as a reaction to acknowledgement that they did not have enough guidelines in place across these categories. These categories are unfortunately some of the most counterfeited categories in the space. And because it involves things being ingested in the food supplements and pet ingestibles, and also baby consumables, which was actually added, I think, yesterday, in those categories, or things that touch your skin. So that would include beauty and a lot of the wellness and personal care items. Unfortunately, because those are so highly counterfeited and or involved in theft, Walmart took this action from their legal department because they just did not have proper vetting in place. That is kind of my summary of the things that they said. They said them in a way that I think probably it was a little more legalese for them. But that's basically why this happened. I don't know that they comprehended the impact of doing it in the way in which they did. Obviously, they're feeling it now. Their support is inundated with cases, which they are working through. But really, what we need to focus on is like, what does that mean moving forward for us in these categories and on Walmart as a platform? Because obviously, Walmart has positioned themselves for the last several years as a platform that's very seller friendly, that they want to hear our feedback, that they, want to help us be successful on the platform and grow our platform. And every action that they have taken, I think until this weekend, spoke, I think, very much in line with that philosophy. And I don't think it means Walmart's philosophy has changed. I just think that some of this legal stuff has kind of caught up with them, and they didn't have a good plan in place for how to react. So, and that's totally my interpretation of it. That's not anything Walmart directly has said. So it puts us all in a sticking place. Like, it's not a good place to be. I personally have over 9,000 units stranded, and I lost more than 50% of my active catalog. So this is a personal impact to me, but I know it impacts each of you in different ways, and I'm here to fight for you guys as well, and try to get things in a place where we can move forward. I wrote a 2-page letter and sent that to multiple contacts that I have at Walmart. I know that it has made its way to the gating team. So I know it's made it that far through some of my contacts, basically stating what the petition that I created stated, but in kind of more verbose, eloquent, ways I backed up my arguments, that kind of thing, to them. And it's basically like, hey, like, you did this with no off-ramp for sellers to move their inventory to be able to react to the decisions that you're making. Obviously, we all sourced these items in good faith. We followed the rules. You need to do something to help us in this situation. Removal fees are an added expense. The wait time for those removals is an added expense. And the lack of cash flow of these items selling, is obviously a huge impact to lots of us. So, my suggestion to them is, kind of roll back for 30 days and let us sell through. I don't know if they're going to do that. They are hearing it. So as an option, I've also put out the option of just letting us remove everything for free, at least like do that. The issue with that is just the timeliness. Like, we're talking hundreds of thousands of listings that are no longer active because there's no sellers on them. So that doesn't even count the offers that were on active pages. So their ability to return that inventory to us in a timely fashion where it's not expired or, damaged when it is sent back, for me, the better option is the sell-through option. So that is what I am pushing with my Walmart contacts on behalf of all sellers that were in these impacted categories. I've heard, that their plan kind of moving forward is to vet the sellers in these categories individually. Those people who have larger catalogs in these categories would probably be the ones prioritized first, which means smaller sellers may have to wait a while for that to happen. But again, this is kind of like a plan on a whiteboard. There's no real process yet for that to happen. In talking with my personal Walmart rep, she's going back. She's not a wellness or personal care rep. She's a toy rep. So she's having to go back and forth to those teams and talk to them on my behalf. What they have suggested is to start gathering documentation now. I expressed to her that documentation on 9,000 items would take me months of time and effort. I have all the invoices, receipts, whatever you want to see, but to go out and get the FDA documents, I'm not going to have an LOA. for a lot of my items. But she said, just get what you have. But I told her, I said, like, look, I'm not going to make that effort across everything. I will make the effort on one item and we'll see where it goes. And if it moves, then I'll put forth the effort. She also said that it may be brand based and not item based. So again, they don't really have a plan yet. So I don't laugh out of like this, haha, this is funny. I laugh out of like, how could they not have had a plan and seen like what this was going to do to their catalog for their customers, the items that aren't available any longer for customers to purchase. And new categories are being added. Like I said, baby consumables was added. So I don't really know when the snowball stops rolling down the hill on this. I do think it really is about things that they have legal worries about. Obviously on Amazon protects themselves by requiring insurance and by vetting sellers by brand and gatings. And I think that is a direction Walmart is looking to head. But again, they just don't have those things in place yet. So for those of you that have inventory in stock, yesterday I created an MCF, multi-channel fulfillment, for eBay. I put one item on eBay to test. It did sell, and I created the MCF order this morning. I'm waiting to make sure that Walmart fulfills it. I was actually told, I have a WFS rep as well, and I was told by him, no, they won't fulfill anything that's aired out. But I have a friend who has been doing it since Saturday successfully. So that may be an option if you have items in your catalog that you can list on other platforms and then create the MCF orders. It is a little labor intensive because you have to copy over the SKU and how many, and then the addresses. I know that there are softwares out there that can automate that. Like I said, I'm going to test it. And then if I figure out it works, then I will absolutely look into different softwares to see if I can expedite that. Because I love selling on Walmart. I would love to sell these products on Walmart, but I can't wait around for even 3 to 4 weeks for them to have a solution for this. So what I'm doing personally is I'm pivoting to other categories. I mean, I sell in other categories anyway, but I'm just kind of ignoring those categories. And really, anything I source for Walmart is going to be in those other categories that I feel like are a little less susceptible to these types of regulations or gatings in the future. They did tell one seller specifically who asked. They have no plans for this in grocery. The food supplements category, if you don't know what that is like protein bars, protein shakes like Ensure or Premier Protein or things like that. Those all started getting removed, I think Sunday night or Monday, one of those evenings. I only had a handful of those, but those started getting removed. So, so I'm just kind of like, those are the things I'll focus on. Obviously, I still sell on Amazon too. So I'll sell on Amazon as well. I may try to ungate some more brands on Amazon that got regated for me that I was selling on Walmart. But I'm not walking away from the Walmart platform. Like I still think that there's a lot of opportunity there and things that we can do to be successful. Along that line, I want to make sure you guys are prepared for what's getting ready to come next. So they have been warning us about CPCs for toys for some time. In fact, the first time that we got this notification for CPC documentation was a year ago, February, for school supplies. And it took them almost a year to implement school supplies. But now they have a system, and we've seen them roll this out across office and school supplies, baby products, and now toys 3 and under. Those have all been rolled out. And you should be seeing CPC document requests under settings. And then you go to Account Hub, and then you can see the CPC document and a place to upload. And when you click upload, it will show you all the products that you have that are requiring CPC documents, and they will be aired out in your catalog. Toys for 13 and under is coming any day. My rep said it's already like the button's already been pushed, so to speak. And she said it may just take some time to roll through the catalog. I've heard January 31st as a date, which is a week from today. And I've heard it might not hit for a while. So like, you just hear different things from different people. Walmart seems to be a pretty siloed organization from everything I've experienced with them. So really, the compliance team would be the only team that really knows the date of that, and they won't tell you if you ask them straight to your face. Like, they just won't. It's not their, I guess, policy. So CPC documents, if you don't know what those are, just so we talk to the masses here, those are children's product certificates. And they are documentation that basically lays out the item, where it was manufactured, all the details around the item, if it includes batteries or zippers or anything flammable. And then there are testing reports that are kind of like the partner document to that, where they actually test the item for heavy metals and other things that might be harmful, especially for children who might put these things in their mouth. I don't think a 13-year-old's putting a backpack in their mouth, but still, there's tests that have to be done. And so Walmart is going to require that, both the CPC and the testing document. And in most cases, you can only get those by buying direct from the brand through a wholesaler or a authorized distributor. There are a few brands that do have documents on their websites. Crayola, Fiskars, Lego all have documents, but they may not have both documents. So it's really important that if you're sourcing in the categories of office and school supplies, baby products, toys 3 and under, toys 13 and under, that you're buying from brands, wholesalers, distributors, and ensuring before you purchase that they can provide that documentation to you. Outside of that, it's going to really close down those categories. Amazon treats this a little differently. Amazon requires those documents to be uploaded once for the listing. So one seller can upload it, and it basically unlocks the listing for any seller that wants to sell on it. Walmart is taking a much more conservative, stringent approach, and they want it from every seller to be able to unlock your offer on the listing. So it just is going to make things tougher in those categories. And so knowing that, if you have things in those categories currently that are still active, you might think about moving them faster, like getting more aggressive on your pricing before they air out if you aren't able to provide those things to Walmart. You might also think about offering them on other platforms and using their multi-channel fulfillment to ship them currently while they're published. So that is another option for you. All right, I'm going to pause for just a second. I do also want to talk about suspensions that have been going on, but I want to kind of go through questions so that we kind of stay on topic. So let me just kind of look and see. Yeah, what a week it's been. Whew, yeah. I actually slept last night. I haven't slept pretty much since Saturday, just because my adrenaline has been through the roof. Yep. Hey, everyone. Let's see. It will take forever for removals to come back to us. Any chance we'll have it in time for Q4 and other platforms? D, it's really hard to say. Like I said, because I don't think they understood the impact it was going to have, I'm not sure that they're ready for that many removal orders. I do have someone I know that said they placed a removal order. It was shipped. They received it, but it's still marked in the system as in process. So like, their systems are they're not up to par. And so I just can't answer that. I've done removal orders and had them go pretty quickly. And I've done removal orders where it seems like it took forever to get the items back. So yeah, I'm just a little unsure on that. I'll be honest, I'm really unsure about the cost, because online it talks about the cost being, I think it's like 35 cents a unit plus 40 cents a pound, or vice versa, 40 cents a unit plus 35 cents a pound. up to a certain pound, and then it's a little more. So like for something under a pound, it's like 75 cents removal fees. But I don't know if that includes shipping it to me. And the way that Walmart ships removals, sometimes it's like 3 and 4 in a box instead of like a pallet of stuff. So I'm going to be asking some questions and trying to get clarity around the total expense of removals, so that we all understand that before we're hit with a bill. Like I'm estimating, 9,000 items, like even if it's, sorry about that, even if it's 75 cents a unit, that's a lot of money. But if it's 75 cents a unit plus shipping, like we're talking 25 grand or more to just get that shipped back to me. Yeah, definitely a nightmare. They really messed up. I agree with all of that. What are the costs of MCF? Yeah, imagine it would have to be higher than $25 to make it worthwhile. So the item that I shipped today was under a pound, and it was like $7.50. So, that was the shipping and their fees to me. So it's not glamorous. Like obviously I could ship that same thing for like $5. And I'm also having to pay the selling fees on the other platform. So it's not glamorous, but I would rather move the inventory and recoup some of my money right now. This is an item I have over 200 in stock on Walmart. So just trying to recoup some of those costs right now while I kind of wait to try to help my cash flow. So those are just decisions you're going to have to make of whether it's worthwhile or not. I think it just definitely depends on weight. I will try to post in the groups the link to the Seller Center article that talks about the fees for MCF so that we have those in front of you. Will they start considering gluten-free as health and wellness food? I don't think so. I think it's really related to things that are considered like supplementation. So just like, like say Vital Proteins powder is a supplement. And these like health shakes are, supposed to be like meal replacements or supplements, supplement your daily intake of whatever. So I don't think it would fall under that. I think it's going to be really important for us to pay attention to categories. And I talked to the folks at Martyr, and we're looking at trying to add the category onto the Martyr app so that's very visible. We've also talked about flagging these restricted categories in a different way on the app, so that like, hey, yes, you can theoretically ungate these, but it's a much different process than like ungating Squishmallows or Lego or something like that. So we're trying to figure out how to do that from a software perspective. I spent time with Ito on Monday, and we basically were brainstorming like just how we can look at software and technology as a solution to help people kind of navigate this new normal on Walmart. So they definitely have some ideas, which I think could be really good for us. So I know that they are, basically at the theoretical whiteboard trying to figure that out right now. Yes, CPCs are not easy to get. You really do have to have those purchases made through the authorized distributors and wholesalers. If we buy our inventory from Walmart to sell on Walmart, shouldn't Walmart already have the CPC and test results for these products? Absolutely, they should. Why do we have to provide them if they already have them? Because they say so. Like I said, do I think it's kind of ridiculous? Yes, because if they have the document, they have the document. I think their perspective is, if you sell it, you should have it. But we could argue, but we're selling it on your platform, so you should have it. So I think, fingers are kind of, being pointed at each other, kind of like that Spider-Man meme. Right now it's their sandbox. We're playing in it. It's their rules. Like, do we think maybe they'll adjust their rules? They might. They might see that this is just too much to take on and ridiculous. They might see the impact to their sales numbers specifically by doing this, and that might have an impact on how they make decisions moving forward. I've heard that they've lost as many as 400,000 listings since this weekend, which is our products that they're not going to be making commission on. So it's while we may not like it and while we may not agree with it, it's the rules that that they have. And, like I said, the thing with the CPC, I have to give them a little bit of grace because they have been telling us this for quite some time. So we knew it was coming. We just we knew it kept getting kicked down the road. Then we had the little banner, the little pop-up box on Seller Center yesterday stating, hey, by the 31st, I think it says. So it's coming. So we need to react however is best for your business. And that's going to be different for every person. I know personally, I have been sourcing much more wholesale for Walmart specifically. And so I have a catalog of CPCs and testing documents ready to go when I can upload them. But I've also shopped Walmart clearance. And so I need to look at those items and maybe reprice those more aggressively to try to move them out before this hits. And that's how I'm handling it. Fiskars, tried twice, still not go, and listed to another platform. Yeah, Fiskars, I think the problem is they only have one document. It's not both documents, and I think that is the problem. What other categories are safe? We are going to talk about that when I'm done kind of just chatting, because we're going to go into MOA and kind of look at all those categories, and I'll talk through each of them. But basically anything except the ones that are in the banner or the ones that need CPCs. Like those would be kind of this open to everybody categories. So grocery, hardware, sporting goods, lawn and garden, those kind of things. We'll talk about those. Saw someone had to recall 100 phone calls. It was over $400 in removal fees. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. MCF to Amazon FBM. It's possible. Yeah. So like I said, I'm testing it because I was told specifically by a Walmart employee in WFS that no, they would not fulfill anything that's errored. However, I have a friend who has done it successfully. So I'm testing it currently. I've already placed my order. It's showing up as they are going to fulfill it. So once it goes actually to a shipped status, I will post in the groups and let you guys know. And I think that's definitely an option to MCF, to Amazon, to eBay, to Mercari, to wherever you want to list them. And like I said, if it works, then I will also look at looking at a couple of softwares that automate that a little more. Because for me, it'll be a pain to have to hand copy all that information over. Has there been anything regarding baby feeding, bottles, etc., about being restricted? I know that pacifiers already hit. I would assume that anything baby feeding, probably because it's baby products, that hit with CPC requirements. Those are not restricted like the personal care category. They are CPC'd. So if you have any errors on those, look in your account hub under settings and the CPC document, hit upload documents. You'll be able to see all of the listings of yours that are impacted. I had baby blankets, pacifiers hit. It was only the stuff I had in stock. So that was mostly it. Do you think they will accept order confirmations, tracking info to Ungate on Walmart, or just invoices from brands distributors like Amazon? Yeah, so I've seen wording both ways recently. My rep said, send what you have, is what she told me. So it might be a crapshoot what they accept and what they don't accept. A lot of what I have are receipts. So I have invoices for some and I have receipts for others. So I will send what I have. I know somebody that got ungated in a toy brand with a retail receipt this week. So even after all this happened. So I think it may depend on the rep that you get, just like sometimes it does on Amazon. So unfortunately, they just don't have a policy that you can point to that makes that super clear. I got some of my SDS sheets from Works. Do you think there will start to be a site for CPCs? Oh, no, I don't think so. The CPC, because the whole reason behind having a CPC and the testing information is to protect that brand or manufacturer from lawsuits. So they have to prove that their product was safe And so if a child gets injured using that product, and injured meaning, injured, or like ingesting something and whatever, those testing documents are more legal than SDS sheets are. And so that's why they're held very close to the vest. You can email brands and ask for them. I've done this in the past, even over on Amazon, and I've had 0% success emailing the brands. So those are just much, much tighter. If you MCF from Walmart to Amazon, will it come in a Walmart box? No. It is in an unbranded box. Walmart has made that very, very specific. Okay, pardon me here. I'm going to pop over to the Facebook channels, and I'm going to see if there's any questions there to answer. And then we'll talk a little bit about suspensions, and then we'll talk about categories. Okay, I don't see anything there. And let's see. I lost an Amazon account and can provide some color. Walmart has fewer DCs than Amazon. Returning inventory took more than a year. And that was from Amazon. Yeah. Can you do a demo on the MCF process? I will, but not today. Like I said, I want to make sure it works before I tell you guys to pull the trigger on that. So I'm in the middle of seeing if it works. Can we start a list of CPC documents people find? I mean, if you guys want to crowdsource CPCs and share, that is your prerogative. I will say CPCs create a moat for you. So if you're able to get a CPC document and nobody else is, then you're going to be able to sell more product on that listing for a higher price. So I would just, if you want to trade with somebody or something like that, to kind of help each other out, that's fine. I know in my mastermind group, I provide CPCs for everything that we do as group purchases. And then I also provide them from my personal purchases to people who are in my group. And that's just because people are paying to be in that group. So it's just really that's your call if you want to do that. With 400,000 listings gone, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be really, really bad. Can I use a Walmart business order to ungate a brand on Amazon? No. I don't think Amazon accepts Walmart business orders, and they definitely want you to have an invoice as well. Okay, so I'm going to shift now and talk a little bit about the latest rounds of suspensions, if anybody is kind of facing that. They're basically fall into 3 buckets. So about 2 to 3 weeks ago, there was a round of suspensions. People got emails citing circumvention as the reason for the suspension. And it turns out that this was a glitch. Obviously, a glitch that impacts people's businesses and lives. So we don't like seeing that. We were not given information as to what happened, what triggered it, why certain people were selected, or any information like that. It's just these people, I kind of went through my channels. I know some other people went through their channels, and every time they pulled up the account, they're like, there's nothing wrong with this account. Like it's, whatever. And they got reactivated. So I think almost everybody that got that has already been reactivated. Then after this weekend, there were 2 different types of suspensions. And actually the circumvention was a termination notice. So not even a suspension, you can come back. It was like your account's terminated, goodbye, don't come back. And that was a glitch, which is horrible. Think about if that happened to you and what you would be thinking. And it took almost 2 weeks for some of those people to get their accounts back. So anytime people kind of get a notice and they really honestly cannot think of a reason why they would be given a notice. Because there are people that maybe do some shady crap on Walmart, and if they get a notice, they should be scared. But if you have done everything right, I always tell people just take a beat, let Walmart have a day or 2 or 3, and a lot of times those kind of go away. I don't know why their system does it. It's terrible, I think, for the kind of trust in Walmart, but it has happened. But after this weekend, some people were suspended with no email whatsoever. Just they logged into their account. All of their items were in staging, and it said their payment was being reviewed due to, I don't know what it said, but no email notification. Some of the people I've talked to with that have been already reinstated. They opened cases, and basically once they saw their account and that nothing was really wrong with it, like, they have already been reinstated. There is a second one that an email went out stating that it was for basically like inappropriate logins to their account. And they said like, hey, we're investigating. We'll be done with our investigation on the 25th, which is tomorrow. And then we'll provide more information. So there's a lot of speculation out there. And I just always caution people, like, social media can be great for like crowdsourcing information, but it also can be a weapon to scare people. And a lot of speculation and conjecture and personal opinion is kind of inserted. I always try not to do that as best I can. But this one, people are like guessing that like either like maybe you have a third-party software connected, like Refund Stacker, and because they're creating emails on your behalf, like that's what's triggering it. I haven't seen that commonality across the people I know that got it. Some people are saying like, oh, it's because you use overseas VAs. I have not seen that consistent in all the people I know that got it. So I just am telling people that have gotten that particular notification, again, wait till the 25th. Like they said, like, we'll be done on the 25th. So on the 26th, if you haven't heard anything and you're not reinstated, like, open a case and then kind of ask them, hey, like, did you look at my account? Like, everything should be cool. Like, can you reinstate me? And go through that. So it's just all of these things kind of like happening at the same time have obviously created a lot of panic, I think, in the Walmart selling world. People are like, I'm quitting my account. I'm not going to sell there anymore. I'm going to liquidate everything. Like, guys, like, it's your business and you got to make your own business decision. Do I think this is the end of selling on Walmart? I don't. I think they really screwed up in a very bad and public way. I think that they eroded trust of sellers that they had worked so hard to build, and that I think a lot of us felt very good about. I have interacted with literally hundreds of Walmart employees in the last year, both in person and through Zoom calls and through emails. And every single time I do that, I get the feeling from them that they really want to support us and help us to be successful. That being said, this happened. It's not good. It doesn't feel good from a seller perspective. Does it make me more cautious? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I really just am going to focus on those areas that I know that I can be successful with and move forward. All right. All of that is kind of the update. So I thank you guys for joining me for that. I am going to stay on and we're going to pop over into MOA. We're going to talk a little bit about the open categories and sourcing for those open categories for about 10 or 15 minutes here at the end of the call. So if you want to stay on and join us for that part, that would be great. If you don't, thanks for joining. Again, hopefully you can like the video, subscribe if you want to on YouTube. I would appreciate that support and that kind of thing. And we will be back Tuesday and Thursday of next week at 2 p.m. Looking at software. We'll probably do live sourcing on Tuesday and then hit one of the softwares from the Martyr guys on Thursday. And if you want to be notified when I go live, subscribe. All right. So now all that got out of the way. Let me share my screen. Let me get my screen ready. And we'll talk about what we can do right now with everything that we know. All right, share. Okay, share. Okay, you guys should be seeing MOA here on the right-hand side. Okay, so if you're not familiar with MOA, this is Martyr Online Arbitrage. I call it MOA. I don't know that they call it MOA. I call it MOA. And this is a way for you to source products through online sources for Walmart. So there is an Amazon to Walmart, there's Walmart to Walmart, and then there's retailers to Walmart. We're going to start here. And this will kind of just quickly go through and pull up products that, based upon the price on the website and the sale price on Walmart, actually are profitable for you to sell. There's a couple of things I always do when I come in here out of the gate. I come in and I say, hey, I've got to have a minimum of $4 profit, and I need a minimum ROI of 30%. Those are my floors. Like, I typically do not go lower than that for most any reason. But now I think we need to start using this category area much more. And so I want to just talk through here about the categories that, like, I would or would not obviously select here. Amazon devices and Amazon Renewed, those are not going to be applicable to Walmart. They're brought over, carried over from Nepeto. But we can sell appliances. We can sell arts and crafts, automotive. I will skip baby, beauty, and personal care. I personally don't do books, so I'm not going to select books. But you could. Books are viable on Walmart. I will select camera, CDs and vinyl, cell phones, climate and pledge, clothing. I don't do collectible coins, just not something I have access to. Computers, electronics, grocery, handmade. No, not going to select handmade. Health and household. There are cleaning supplies and things like that that are still good. Home and kitchen. Small appliances have been great for me. Industrial and scientific, kitchen and dining, movies and TV, musical instruments, office products, our brands, not going to select that. Patio, pet supplies. If it's not food, you're okay. Software, sports and outdoors, tools, toys and games, I will skip, even though it's my favorite category, and unique finds. So those are basically things that don't require CPCs and are not part of the most recent categories that were gated. That is a lot of categories, guys. Like, I know it may feel like a mountain when you have a whole category stripped out. So what I would rather have you focus on and what you can do. And even if it's not comfortable. So I'll give you the example of my own business. I'm a toy seller, been a toy seller for 30 years. And I remember the first time I thought, I'm going to go try to source grocery. And it was overwhelming. It was frustrating. And it took time. So it was a new category. I had to learn, the kinds of things that were good to resell. I had to learn more about expiration dates and timelines, had to learn how to read lot codes on foods. It just was something I never had to do with toys. Once I spent time, and I scanned a lot more than I typically do with toys, because I kind of have a gut feel of what's good in toys. Once I kind of did that over time, it got better and better and better. So that's kind of where I think we are today, is if these are categories that you're not comfortable in, it's okay. You just have to spend a little more time kind of doing more scanning, more research than you might have to in a category that you're really comfortable with. The same thing happened to me when I added beauty in. I've used the same skincare makeup line basically since I was in my early 20s. So and since COVID, I really just don't even wear makeup anymore. But so I just don't even know what the cool brands are. I didn't. So I had to do research. I had to talk to people. I had to look at what the top sellers were. So while it sucks that you may have lost your favorite thing to source, it doesn't mean there aren't things out there that are profitable. So that's kind of my soapbox speech, I guess, on it. So, all right. So let's kind of look and see what we have here. So right away, we have this, some kind of mat or something, that has an amazing ROI and profit. This might be a multi-pack. You'd have to open up to see. I'm going to kind of skip down. I'm just going to kind of look and see. So we've got some hardware items. We've got shoes. And I have sold shoes on Walmart. Yeah, here's a DeWalt bit. We've got some clothing, some more hardware. This looks like a baster brush, which that one, let's just open that one and kind of see what that looks like. So Yeah, so it's a pastry basting brush. It's $7.79 here. It's $20 here. We'll see if there's any estimated sales. There's not there. We have, let's look at the price, has been pretty steady. We do have a drop in offer count though, which would indicate that sales were made. Yeah, I don't know. That one, you know, I might buy one and see like, hey, does it sell? Because again, I'm getting to know maybe these categories. Looks like some kind of swimwear, I think there, which should be good right now. Yes, there's some more swimwear. Okay, Dixie cups. Let's see what this is. It's like a multi-pack, so that's probably not going to be a right match here. Let's see. 25 pack. How many are in this one? Yeah, this one's a 500. So that one's just a mismatch for us. You could do the math and see if it ends up being profitable. How many? 525 would need 20 at $7. Yeah, that would not be profitable. But just to kind of show you, like here's some tea bags, here's some athletic tape. Like there are things out there to be sold. So I'm trying to like, you know, be the Pollyanna. If you're my age, you might know that reference in the group of like just basically trying to stay positive and trying to like take action where you can take action. Obviously, I'm still fighting the other stuff simultaneously and trying to figure out like how we navigate that and move through it. But at the same time, like I've got to move my business forward, and I'm only going to move my business forward by continuing to source and sell. Oh, marine adapter. Like this kind of stuff actually can be really good right now. Like lots of people using their boats, like that type of thing. I know nothing about these things. But I also know that like I've sold hardware pieces. Yeah, this has some sales, so we know that it sells. It's $4.72. So it's a pretty, not 472. Try again. Yeah, it's 84% profit margin there, ROI, sorry. 84% ROI. And it sells for a higher price than it does on Amazon. Would that be worth buying one and trying? And this is like you just trying to get to know like the categories better. Golf balls, again, we're in summer. Look for those summer things that you know, people are looking for that are going to be higher, moving in a better way currently because of that. Yeah, this one's out of stock right now. So, yep, there were people in stock and it went out of stock. We had a buy box winner recently, so we know that it's sold. And you might be able to even, be able to bump on this price a little bit. So something else there too. Okay, underwear, great. Underwear, I just bought a bunch of underwear for Walmart. Those were Walmart in-store clearance items back to Walmart. So definitely that is a thing. And for back to school, guys, people, besides school supplies, which are like, you know, I was kind of bummed about the whole CPC thing. I've been trying to get my, you know, Fiskars and things like that. And I'm having kind of the same issues that someone expressed earlier. But that's not the only thing people buy for back to school. Like they'll buy socks and underwear and, you know, clothing and a jacket and shoes and, you know, for college dorm rooms, you know, small appliances and bedding that's in a twin extra long size that nobody can ever find in store. So you just kind of have to think outside of the proverbial box a little to try to find those things that people are going to be looking for. So lots of hardware here. Seeing lots and lots of hardware. If you're an RA person, if you've never sourced inside of a Home Depot or a Lowe's or a Menards or a, you know, like Tractor Supply or things like that, there's some good stuff in there. So take some time and walk in those stores and just start scanning and get to know, the brands and the types of things that people buy. I know I did a home remodel and I was buying light switch plates and light switches and tons of stuff like that online. Like I didn't go to Lowe's. I just went online and like looked up and bought what I could buy. So, I mean, I hope that this is a little helpful just to kind of see like outside of your, outside of kind of somehow the tunnel vision we get in those categories that we love and know. And just know that like there are quite a few of us out there really fighting for everyone to try to kind of see where we can get resolution to. I've been contacted by media already, large national outlets about this issue, mostly because my name is on that petition that I started. And, I'm open to talking to them. Will I get retribution for doing that? At this point, I don't really care because I feel like this was kind of an unacceptable way to treat their sellers. Like it just, there was 10 other ways they could have done it in a more respectful manner. So, is what it is. Any final questions that you guys have about anything? Happy to answer any questions on any Walmart topic while we are still together. Actually, let me go make sure the Facebook people don't have questions too. So I'm sorry, I just like through this streaming platform, it doesn't post those Facebook questions onto the stream. So I'm going to go here and look real quick and make sure there's no questions. And then I'll come back to the YouTube stream and I'll answer any questions there. Okay, no questions on that one. The presentation's always blurry. I don't know. I would have to have other people say if it's blurry on their side or not. Toys that are still published, can you send them like WFS? You can. We just don't know when those CPCs are going to hit. And we don't know, like when school supplies hit, we had 30 days to get CPCs in. But that was the first category that they did. When they did baby, I didn't see that same 30-day sell-through happen with baby. So maybe I missed it. I mean, it very well could have. So I don't know, like once it hits, if it's going to be an active listing for 30 days or if it's going to immediately error out. That's my fear. I would personally, any toys that you currently have, I would seller fulfill, or even create like offers and do multi-channel fulfillment. But like, I just don't know when that's actually going to hit and like to what degree. It's unfortunately, it's just an unknown. So I wish I had better answers. Jeff, yes, it's a perfect reason why you should always take early payments. I tell that people to that all the time. Like if you have that option available on Amazon, and then I know with Walmart, like it's kind of their decision depending what how you receive your payments. But I always enable early payout. I'd rather have my money now than later. And then, of course, obviously we get suspended, like, payments are held. But in this case, like that wouldn't even have really impacted me because like I have inventory being held. So just going to work through that. Again, I will post in the Facebook groups as soon as I know for sure if MCF is working. Because what I don't want you to do is list on another platform and then it doesn't work and then you have to cancel an order and then you get in trouble on the other platform. That's why you shouldn't test it until we know for sure it's working. I'm testing it with something that I have in my warehouse right now, so that if it doesn't work, I can go ahead and fulfill it myself. If you have that kind of like scenario where you have some product in your warehouse that you could fulfill too, maybe go ahead and test it now if you want to. But that's what I'm waiting for. And then like I said, as soon as I see that it goes through, I'll let you guys know. It doesn't mean they couldn't stop it later on, though, because like I said, the WFS guy was like, no, we've been informed by management. Like, we're not going to process the error ones, which I don't understand why they wouldn't. It's in their warehouse and they get paid money to do it. But that's what he said. But like I said, it hasn't seemed to be the case for my friend who has been doing it since Saturday. So, all right, guys, come back here. Let's see. The CPC documents will be for toys. What about board games? It'll be across any toy, anything in the toy category, which would include games that is intended for children 13 and under. It does not impact toys that are intended for kids over 13. Now, I don't know if that's what the thing on the box says or how. I don't know. I don't know where that differentiation is. Will I still use the repricer? I use Flash Pricer for my repricer. Still using it. I actually have a liquidation strategy built into Flash Pricer that I may use for some toys. Before this call, I actually went in and created a price incentive clearance campaign for some Easter toys. So I'm using Walmart's kind of incentives. There are different things that you can do there. So yeah, do I check item reviews to choose items to sell? Nope, because people on Walmart do not review items as often as people on Amazon. I kind of look for other indicators as to what to sell. I do like for it to have some reviews, but like I sell a lot of brand new listings. Like I make listings and sell things that have no reviews and sell them very well. So I don't use that as an end all be all to my decision making. It's 1 point and it's probably a minor one at best. How can you get CPCs? I talked about this a little bit earlier. You have to buy directly from the brand, from a wholesaler, or from an authorized distributor. Those are the only people that CPCs are supplied to. Is the mastermind group the same thing as the leads group? No, it's not. It's not. The leads are just what they are. They're leads. You get a master Google sheet every month. And then every week we post around 50 leads for Walmart. We've already pivoted. Is that a word? Pivoted? Changed? So we're not putting any of the restricted categories on that list. And with toys, we probably will have to pull toys off of that list. So the whole makeup of that list may change next month. So trying to kind of gauge whether or not we can find enough leads that I feel are quality to keep it at the same level as it's at. So I got to make that decision this week. The mastermind group is a limited group. So I only allow 50 people in the door just because of some of the perks of being in there. And, we just answer questions. We problem solve. We have live calls every week to talk about Walmart. We also have group buy opportunities in there from wholesalers. So I have brand direct relationships and distributor relationships that we leverage so that smaller sellers can basically hop into buys that they couldn't normally make because of the MOQ requirements. And we do all the prepping and shipping for our mastermind people in my warehouse. And even I am not a prep center, but we'll do it for the warehouse for our mastermind members. That group, not sure what's going to happen. I usually have a Q4 group, so that group may pause during the Q4 group, but I will have a Q4 group that I'll be announcing on the web pages probably next month because we usually start in September, even though Q4 starts October, because I want to make sure I get people ready for Q4. And so that may include, help with ungating and also group buy opportunities to have inventory for Q4. So that's kind of what the mastermind is. The guy from Walmart just called me and wants to offer me advertising. Actually, here's what I would do, Monica. Like, I get what you said. Like, usually when they call and offer you advertising or want you to advertise, they usually give you free credits. And I always suggest you take them and you make a relationship with that ad manager. I would not spend a dime of your own money but I would talk with them. I really honestly believe that's how I got my account manager, was just talking with the other people and accepting those opportunities when they came about. But that's a contact for you inside of Walmart. And I think have the conversation with him and let him know, like, look, this was devastating to my business. How am I going to get through this? What can you tell me? Who can you connect me with? Happy to use your free credits to advertise, but look at my catalog, like 90% of it's gone. Like, have the call with them. Even if at the end you're like, yeah, no, I really don't want to do this. Like, I just think, like, take those opportunities from Walmart to talk to a real functioning human being. I know one person has reached out through his ad manager to have like price corrections done for him. So I grab all of those opportunities, even if I'm like, yeah, I'm not spending my own money. Like, whatever, I'll spend your money. If you want to give me free money, spend it. So that's kind of my take on that. Just because I feel like it cannot hurt to have that contact, because usually then you have their email address. So even if you're not advertising, you can at least like reach out to them and say, like, hey, do you know anything about this? It just happened. Like, it's really impacting me and my account, and I may not be able to move forward with Walmart until this is resolved. So, like, you know, it's just a way for you to have somebody. So anyway, just my 2 cents on that. All right, everyone. Outside of that, I'll just say, hang in there. This is not going to be resolved quickly. It's not like next week they're going to have a resolution on this, but I do think they will. I do think something will happen, even if it's them coming back and saying this is the process to ungate in these categories, or coming back and saying, like, we're not going to allow anybody to sell these categories. Then we at least know. I think right now there's too many unknowns for me to make an emotional decision about what I'm doing. So I am this whole week, like, I've had my meltdowns. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of dollars sitting at Walmart, but I'm also taking breaths and saying, like, I need to give them time. And so probably end of the month, it will be when I start making decisions about really what I'm going to do. And obviously I'll let you guys know what my decisions are. They may be different than what decisions you need to make. But I always like to share that just for a perspective, and that kind of thing. We're really busy. We're moving warehouses right now. So end of this month, we have to be out of here and over in our next one. So I'm not going to be probably quite as busy in the groups as I normally am, but I will be online next Tuesday and Thursday at 2, like I said. So I can talk to you guys then. And obviously, if you post in the groups, ask questions, whether it be in the Martyr group, Facebook group, or the WOW Facebook group, or DMing me personally. I try to answer as quickly as I can. So take care. Take care of yourselves. Take care of things, but also, like, don't base decisions on kind of the flurry of social media talking about how, this is, I don't know, whatever it is. Like, let's wait for facts and base our decisions on facts. All right. Have a great rest of today. Have a great rest of the week and weekend. And I will be back on here next week. So have a good one.